What's going on? This is Trevor with Focus, back with a little different kind of video. I get asked at least a few times a week which AI is best. And the answer's complicated because it kind of depends on what you're using it for. So I'm going to test ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, and Meta across the exact same prompts and categories as methodically as I possibly can so that you don't have to. At the end, we should have a pretty clear answer on which one is best for what category, at least right now. And that matters because these companies release new models and updates constantly, so that answer actually can change. But as of right this minute, this is where they stand. Internally, we of course use different models for different jobs. Some are custom models that we've built for very specific tasks, but we also use the public tools like ChatGPT and Claude for a lot of things. I don't use Gemini much because it has never really impressed me. I don't use Grok either. I've never used it. And Meta AI has impressed me. We don't use it, but I have tested it and I was impressed initially. But I'm including all of them because I want the comparison to be as fair as possible. So I've built tests across 4 categories: content creation, creative ability, image creation, and conversational ability. For content creation, I'm testing professional emails and promotional social media content. For creativity, I'm testing original ideas and short form storytelling. For image generation, I'm testing both a polished advertisement and a detailed photorealistic scene with very specific instructions. For conversation, I'm testing whether each model can remember the details, follow corrections, revise something without breaking the previous requirements, and accurately summarized what changed. Every platform gets the same prompts in the same order with the exact same settings. Then I'm going to compare the results and let you see them. And we'll decide, or you decide, which one performs best in each category. So right here we have ChatGPT. I've got ChatGPT loaded into a temporary chat so it doesn't use anything. We've got Meta AI, Gemini, Claude, and Grok. Our first prompt is this right here. And I'm just simply going to copy and paste it into each conversation. That one. Now we do Meta. Okay, let's see. Dear team, I want to let you know that the project deadline has been extended from Tuesday to Friday. This adjustment. All right, that's fair. To be fair, that was a simple task. I fully expect each one of them to do this, like, perfectly. Okay, so Gemini now wants me to log into my Gmail. Let's try to help it along. I want you to generate the message, not send it. Come on, Gemini, you can do something right for sure. All right, Meta. All right. So I honestly, between ChatGPT, Meta, Claude, and Grok, I don't think any of these really outperformed the other. Gemini wanted me to connect to my email because it didn't follow the instructions. And even if you look at the prompt, it says include a subject line and only output only the finished email. So I'm going to call that a bit of a fail for Gemini because its output was supposed to be the email, not to send an email, and that's what it defaulted to do. So, okay. Now, let's see if it can do promotional content. We'll drop this into each one. All right, so write a social media post called Clear Drop. Is that 120 characters? Let's see if it actually met the criteria. No, it's 458 characters. Grok, I don't dislike this. I think that's actually clever. It actually went to it 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 tried to engage. What's your go-to color to engage the audience? Not a great engagement thing, but it did a fair job. Again, 369 characters, so Grok did not do it. No, sorry, I'm mistaken. It was 120 words, so 58 words. Grok did. I may have screwed up on Gemini. Gemini may have got it right as well. Yeah, it did. Okay. So if we go back, Gemini did not overshoot it. So, okay. I don't think Gemini's as engaging as Grok was. I do like the fact that it asked a question to engage the audience. Let's see what Claude did. Claude, I think, was pretty close to Gemini in that sense. We didn't get it. Okay, so Meta AI didn't give us engagement, but I do like the shortness of it actually. And ChatGPT, this is going to be subjective, but I think Grok wins this one. I really like the engagement at the end. That's smart. And then ChatGPT and Meta, I like the shortness. And I think Claude and Gemini bring up the back on this one. Again, they all did fair. I don't think anybody failed. All right, let's see about creative ability here. Create 5 completely different ideas for encouraging adults to spend more time outdoors. Again, I had an AI generate the test so that it would be unbiased and it would not be anything that was in my wheelhouse. Porch pause. A daily ritual of stepping onto your porch for 15 minutes. Okay. Window garden project. Growing a small container garden right outside your window. Oh, to create a living reason to step outdoors regularly. If you plant a garden outside, you got to water it. Okay, makes sense. A sky journal. Okay. Bench moments. Meh. Backyard supper, backyard dinner. I get it. Yep. Okay. So Grok did fair on that. Porch office hour. Encourage people to move 1 hour of desk work outside each day. I like that idea. I do find it interesting that Claude and Grok both went for the Sky Journal. Outdoor meal swap. I like it. That was something that Grok had as well. That's kind of interesting to me. Yeah, the prompt included nothing about that. That's pretty interesting because these are this and the Sky Journal. And to be fair, those are kind of unique ideas. I mean, the outdoor meal is not, I guess, but open air phone calls. I do that all the time, actually. Encourage people to take personal calls outside instead of on the couch or at the desk. Cool. I find it really interesting that Claude and Grok had such similar responses. None of them are bad. I'm just saying that I find them really interesting that they're completely different language models that had extremely similar results. Fresh Air Workspace. Again, that one was similar. Porch Office Hour. And this one that Gemini has, that's kind of an obvious move. Outdoor dining shift. Microbotanist discovery. Engaging casual curiosity through plant and wildlife identification. It's pretty dope. I like that idea. Open air journaling. Once again. Okay. So there's some content out there somewhere. I feel like that is told that the language models have trained on to give this because that like I feel like that's a thing. Open air journaling is now been repeated 3 times basically. Meta AI, balcony office hour. Again, that's a repeat. Still a good idea. Sunset tea. I dig it. Scott 6. Interesting. That's a little pivot from the other three. A set time to see how it looks outside at a different time every day. I actually dig that idea. Sound map. That could be interesting. And adopt a plant. Very similar to our very first window garden project, but I do like it. I think all four so far have done a fairly reasonably good job. Or ChatGPT comes in with essentially very similar ideas. Um, which ideas are the best is going to be subjective, of course, but I think they all did an equally good job on this. I don't think any of them, I don't think there was a failure at all. I don't think one was significantly better than the other. All right, let's try our second prompt. Write a short story. I don't want to read this, actually. I guess we kind of have to, though, don't we? I'm not going to read it to you, though. Not an not a immensely interesting story, but it's a story. It's a story. All right, that one was actually fairly interesting. All right, so I think ChatGPT wrote the most interesting story, but they all did it. They all did a fair job. All right, so all right, now we're going to dive into image creation. I'm going to say at this point they're all fairly equal. A couple the Grok has surprised me. Grok is looking completely viable, and I've never used it ever. Okay, so Grok has hit a limit, the free limit. Okay, so that's interesting because let's see if what does it want me to upgrade? So $10 a month is what I'd have to upgrade to. I'm not going to do that. We will just pause the video for now, and I'll return when this is lifted. But I do want to see if any other ones do this as well. It's not a great ad. It does not the prompt does not say photorealistic, but it's I mean that's it did what it was said it was supposed to do, but I don't feel like that's a successful ad. I want to say that Claude fails at that task. Ooh. But well, no. Oh no. Actually, look, the headline start strong. The text must be spelled correctly and easy to read, so do not include any other words or logos. It did include additional words at the bottom. So Claude gets an absolute fail. That's the first fail. I think Gemini did a fairly good job there. I like the ad. I like it as an ad. Yeah, it's boring as hell. Oh, okay. So, all right. So I did hit a block with ChatGPT. That image generation is unavailable in temporary chat. I was using temporary chat so that none of my history within ChatGPT would influence anything. But for this singular image, we'll see what it does. So Grok has hit a limit, a free limit, which now granted, I am paid on ChatGPT. Actually, that's the only one I'm paying for because I'm not logged into my pay account on Claude or Gemini. I think all we're going to do is log fails because there's so many that are subjective as far as what's better. The only thing I'm going to look at is from a scoring perspective is which ones failed. Okay, now that's an absolute winner, hands down. Uh, I just said that I was going to be not subjective, but that beats the hell out of all the other ones for sure. I mean, this is a strong second, but that's a that's terrible. We don't know about Grok yet because we hit the free limit. All right, I'm going to pause this and come back in a little while. All right, so let's see if Grok has cooled down yet and will give me a result. Okay, so we're going to get a result from Grok. Nope. It's been, I don't know, I'll have to look at the timestamp on the video, but it's been a little while, so the cooldown is a good bit. All right, we are on the next day. I have let Grok cool down overnight. Let's see if it'll actually, as you can see, I did try a few times, an hour or so apart maybe, and it never did uh, allow the cooldown to work. Okay, so Grok is under high demand right now. Please try again later. Okay, let me just do a Control-Shift-R and get a fresh conversation. Okay, so I'm gonna fire Grok from the test. Like, I've literally, it's been, I don't know, 14 hours or so since the last. So we're just gonna disqualify Grok because everything else is still working. Ignore this. This is, I'm helping somebody secure a property. All right, so now we're gonna try something, a different one. Still image creation, photorealistic image of a small red boat. Let's see who does well. I suspect Gemini's going to do well with this. I think they'll all do really well with this, actually. Oh, okay. Did not know that. Claude cannot do photorealistic AI images. I don't have image generation tool available right now. That does explain why the shitty graphic. Okay, so Claude sucks on images. I've never used it for that, so that makes sense. Okay, cool. All right, that's dope. Yeah, that looks cool. I would say that's properly good. To be fair, if you didn't know it was I don't see any. Yeah, I don't see anything obvious that says this is AI. So I think Gemini did a really good job there. Meta AI also appears to have done a really good job. Inside the boat, light fog over the water. Let's look for accuracy here, okay? I just now noticed that because the oars are inside the boat. They're inside the boat here. To me, the oars look more like oars here than they do in the ChatGPT one. But theoretically, the wide part of the oar could be at the bottom. Again, I'm being nitpicky. They're inside on Gemini. Yeah, I think everybody. I think all the systems. I'm gonna say that's all a pass. Okay, message one. Conversational ability. I'm gonna close this. I'll build a vegetarian menu for all 6 guests. Okay, cool. It's selecting vegetarian. All right, so Gemini got done first. Okay, I'm down. I think that's a 100% pass right there, in my opinion. That's a pass. I like that they include the budget, but we specified that, so okay. I do like this layout better. I like the way it's giving me the content, but I think they all get an absolute pass on this one. All right, let's do message 2. We're going to make some changes to the recipes. Chocolate brownies with vanilla ice cream. I am so down for that. Meta's gonna rebuild the entire recipe for us. Okay. Fudgy cocoa brownies with vanilla ice cream. Yep, sounds good to me. Warm chocolate lava cake. Okay. I definitely have more confidence that I could pull off a chocolate brownie rather than a chocolate lava cake, personally, because I don't know that I could make this, but it does sound better. Flourless chocolate cake. Okay, cool. Now complete the shopping list. This is what I do all the time with recipes. That we came from Liz in the background. All right, we got a good shopping list. Fair. That looks good too. All right. Ooh, I do like that it breaks down everything, the cost there. That's cool. Menu reminder. Here's a shopping list. It's a complete list. I don't like the organization of it as much for some reason, from a visual standpoint, but it's kind of the same, actually. I like the bulleted list far better. So they all pass. Well, this is bulleted too. I don't know why. For some reason, I prefer this over this, but it's essentially the same thing. Maybe it's the black background that's throwing me off. Okay. All right, next, conversational. So they all get a pass on that one, except for Grok, and we fired Grok. All right, so who's going to get... Okay, so Claude wants me to pick an area. Let's do San Jose. Gemini. See that? Okay. Gemini's result is absolutely useless because it doesn't. I didn't tell it where it was, but it also didn't ask like Claude did. So this is not a good schedule. Well, is it generic enough that it could apply anywhere? Let's see. I mean, it is generic enough that it could apply to most places. Mendocino Coast around. Okay. So we get a destination here. Again, it didn't tell us where. It just said Meta's going generic as well. Now ChatGPT has gotten specific, except for it did not find me a hotel or a cabin. Okay, I'm gonna say, yeah, I think they all pass. Yeah, I think Gemini is generic enough to apply to most places. I'd like to see a bit more specificity into it, but we didn't give it a town or anything. And the other ones assumed a town or created a town based on my current position, which is kind of interesting. All right, so Claude did a good job. Again, Gemini's going generic because it doesn't know where we are or where we're going. Meta's gotten nice and specific. I like it. Even the Amtrak ticket prices, well, it's got a range. And ChatGPT is going slower than the rest. All right. Now, that took a minute and 23 seconds. Not a terrible amount of time comparing, but it was slower. But it is a better result. It's really detailed. So ChatGPT, I think they all pass, but ChatGPT absolutely wins this one. The first day is too busy. All right. So it gave a softer day. Okay. And the final question here is the summary of the entire trip. What changed along the way? Driving base, switched to a car free, cool, lightened. Bang on. Done. Okay, I tell you what, I think one of the things that Meta AI is not doing as well as some of the other ones, and again, I'm nitpicking, it's the context, the spacing of the content. If you notice, this is easy to scan, and this is Gemini, and ChatGPT does the same. It's pretty easy to scan, and Meta AI is not doing that as well. It's just kind of, again, I'm being super nitpicky. The results, they all did a great job. They all delivered exactly what we asked for, right? So that's the end of that. Now let's do a bonus round here. All right, so we're going to have it do one final test, and I'm going to see who does the best. And then we'll look at it. This would be something that's actually usable for most people. All right, this is going to take a little bit for them to do it, I think, but we'll come back in a few minutes. All right, Gemini is done. Is it done? It looks like it's done. Gemini gave it to me where I have to copy and paste it into a notepad file. We'll look at it when everybody else is done. Claude is still going. Meta's still going. Uh, ChatGPT has given me the page. All right. Ideally, what I would like is, and I didn't ask for this, but I want. It would be cool if it was just a downloadable file. So far, nobody's done that. All right, so Gemini got done first, ChatGPT got done second, Meta AI and Claude are still going. All right, so Meta AI has done a good job, I think. We'll see. We're going to download the file. It's downloading. Claude is still thinking. I did cheat a little bit. I went and looked to see what ChatGPT and Gemini had done, and so this was the Gemini result. It's clean and simple. It's not pretty. But we got some strings here, and ChatGPT. I told it that why do we have strings of code? And it was the Python wrapper basically. So I'm going to redo that and save it. Now we'll go back to here, and that should resolve. Okay, that's good. All right, this was Meta. I definitely like Meta the best so far out of these. Claude's still thinking. So while it's thinking, let's go and test it. Check tire pressure. And drop. Okay, so glitch with the it's done white text on a white drop down. So not ideal for ChatGPT. Again, that's an easy fix. Gemini did not do that, but Gemini is not as pretty either. I really like what Meta AI built here. It actually looks like something I would really use. And Gemini's still going, or Claude's still going. Now here's where it gets a little hinky, and if you don't play with the stuff, you wouldn't know this, but I'm going to hit Control Shift R and refresh, and if it did what it's supposed to do, this should still be there. All right, that one passed. Pass. Pass. All right, good deal. So far everybody's done well. Claude's still thinking. I actually quite like this. I'm going to say Meta wins this, or at least at this point. They all do the task, so they all get a pass. But as far as I think most people would agree that this is superior, and Claude's still going. All right, so Claude broke. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give it another chance here. Okay, so it worked quick that time. Okay, so it did not give me a download file. Meta. Meta was the only one that gave me an actual file to download. And I do prefer that. So all the other three, I had to actually copy and paste and create a file. Again, not the end of the world, of course. All right, let's see what. Make sure it works here. What was our first task? Check tire pressures. Oh, so it did the same thing ChatGPT did. It gave us a light color drop down with light colored text. Again, probably not a hard, it wouldn't be a hard fix. And then when I refresh it, it stays persistent. Okay, now it comes into preference. They all have the ability, let's see, change order. They all have the ability to delete a task, which is something we want. Yep. The task does not come back on refresh. Yep. Okay, so they all did it. They delivered exactly what they were supposed to. ChatGPT both and Claude both had the drop down visibility issue. Gemini didn't have it. It didn't really apply in Meta because they gave us this really nice looking toggle, which I definitely prefer. So I'm going to say Meta wins. These two, Gemini and Claude, both they feel a bit more basic. Again, I didn't specify it not to be basic, so I can't say that's a fail, but I do prefer this and this. So I think our bonus round is going to go to Meta AI with GPT pulling up a close second. All right, so throughout this entire thing, I've had a scorecard going. You see that I don't yet because I've not watched it back, and I honestly don't know which one has failed the most. But yeah, so you should see a scorecard on the screen, and at this point, I really do think my honest opinion is all of them can do most things. Well, Claude can't do images, so yeah, there's that. Um, if I will say Meta AI, being that it's the completely free, unlimited, and I say unlimited, I don't notice unlimited. I have tested it a lot, and it's never hit a threshold of a limitation. So I think that Facebook money is just letting us have free reign of it, and that's pretty cool. So I'm not going to cancel my Chat GPT, of course. But what do you think? And always remember, you probably should be nice to your AI because they might remember who was mean to them one day.